Hello everyone, Lewis Karras from Tactical Response. Today we're going to be doing a video on zeroing a rifle. I know it may seem like a basic topic for some of you, but important information that anybody who owns a rifle should have. So we're going to go over the steps of how I do it, and hope you guys enjoy. All right. So firstly, to talk about zero, right? We want to create a repeatable, predictable point of aim and point of impact relationship. Okay, so we'll go to our handy dandy chart and we can talk about some ballistics. So our line of sight goes in a straight line. The bullet trajectory is not. So from the rifle, I have a distance between this optic and the middle of the barrel here. So that distance, that gap, is here. As I choose my zero distance is going to be the first point where those two lines intersect. So that will be my zero distance. For purposes of this, we're going to be doing a 50-yard zero on my AK. So that will be the first point where those two lines intersect. The bullet will continue to travel up above that until it reaches this, the maximum ordinate. That'll be the highest that the bullet gets above the line of sight, and then it'll start coming back down. It'll again cross the line of sight at point blank. I know a lot of people think that means really up close, but that is actual definition of the word there. That's where it crosses the line of sight for the second time. And then again, we're kind of losing a lot of energy, so it'll continue to drop off pretty rapidly thereafter. All right, so we've got our target posted up. We're using a zeroing target that has 1-inch grid squares on it. I'm just going to confirm the distance from the shooting bench. This laser rangefinder has a lock-on feature, which lets me know if I'm locked on to what I'm aiming at. And so I've left an ammo can with a steel magazine on top of it so I can get that lock on it. And I'm getting 48, so I'm going to take it back. Because again, we're looking for a 50-yard zero on the AK. .51, just because I like to be precise. .50. All right, so we mentioned why to zero the rifle, right? We want it to be predictable and repeatable, so we know where the bullets are going when we fire them. Now, when should you do this? I would say you should zero your rifle or confirm zero at every opportunity given. Okay, there's a few must-dos, like if I were to take this optic off and put it back on, even if it's in the same rail space, I'm going to want to go ahead and confirm that zero. If I'm changing locations, traveling with my gun, zero can be affected by things like elevation or humidity. The knobs or dials can get turned while in transport, depending on what kind of case you have, and weird things do happen. So if you have an opportunity to confirm the zero, you're going to want to go ahead and do that. Also, very important note, screws can come loose. Okay, so like this optic has screws that connect the optic to the quick detach, and then a screw in the quick detach that determines the tension on it. So all of those screws need to get Loctite. It will help, but again, even with Loctite, sometimes a screw can back out. So you want to always confirm your zero whenever possible. Now, how do you do that? First of all, you need a safe place to shoot, right? With at least as much distance as you intend to zero the rifle. So for our purposes, we're going to be heading to the range, and I'm going to zero this Occam pistol at 50 yards. So let's head out to the range. Let's see if we could get a good zero on this, and we'll come back and talk about it. All right, so we're out here at the range, and we're going to get the shooting bench set up. So we've got our rifle out. I've got something to rest the rifle on to help me in the zeroing process. Now, I did just put this silencer on this gun. The gun came to me from Occam with the iron sights zeroed at 50 yards. Brian does a great job doing that. I would trust his zero without a doubt. I do want to confirm that zero with the silencer on. Silencers can have an effect on a shifting point of impact. So I want to first remove my optic, leave that off, and I'm going to confirm these iron sights with the silencer. All right, so now let's talk briefly about setting up a natural point of aim from a rest. James has said that Pat McNamara's definition of natural point of aim is the best he's ever heard, and I like it. It's very simple. It's being comfortably on target without muscular input. Pretty easy, pretty well stated. Simple, not necessarily easy. So one thing we need to do is we're going to get behind the gun, get on our sights, get a good sight picture, close our eyes, take a breath, open our eyes again, and we should still be on target. All right, so again, this will be a non-shooting event, but we'll get on target. I'll close my eyes for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out, open my eyes, and I should still be on target. Now, I'm getting quite a bit of wobble in this. So something to make note of when you're creating a rest for yourself is if you have a hard surface in contact with a hard surface, it's not going to be as stable. So something we can do is to put something soft in between those two hard surfaces. So think about if you had a pool ball and rested that on a glass table versus taking a pool ball and setting it on the lawn. Which is going to be more stable, right? So I can take this bag or my sling pouch, part of my sling, just get something so that I have hard on soft. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and use this bag. To give me something nice and soft. And that should help me stay on target a little bit easier. So again, I'll try and find this natural point of aim so that you guys can see. Open my eyes, and now I'm low and right of the target. So that was not a natural point. So I may need to shift my rest around a bit, move my body in relation to it, get on target, close eyes. That seemed like a much better point of aim. So I think having that rest a little bit cattywampus to where I'm sitting and where this edge is was making me not able to get a natural point of aim. Now that I've got a comfortable position with a natural point of aim, I can start the process of repeating that and then giving my best groups possible. All right. So we'll start off with a 3-round group, aiming at the lower 0 target. Confirm the natural point of aim. So that's a 3-round group. All right, I'll rest the gun on the bench and towards that berm we have in that direction. So safety is on, it's in a safe direction. Let's go see what we got. All right, so we can see here that I am not good at shooting rifle irons today. So I have 1, 2 with an unknown third. This is not actionable information for a 0. I am, 1, 2, 3 inches low here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches low there, or high. This is not something that I can change my 0 based on. Again, I'll trust Brian's ability to 0 it with irons. He does it a lot more than I do. And I'll reshoot this before making any adjustments. All right, so we're gonna shoot a second group, see if I can actually get a group instead of a shotgun blast out at this distance. So bear with me here. I'm just gonna find that natural point of aim again. All right, let's go see what we did this time. So I have 1 and 2 right here. These were from that previous group. So I'm still not happy with this group in being able to move it. I'm gonna try a different shooting position to see if I can get a tighter group. Maybe I'm just not keeping it stable enough using that ammo can as a rest. So I'll try one more shooting position and see what I can do from there. I'm going to set this rest up here like this and try and load into it so I can butt the magazine up against the table and hopefully create a very stable support. So let's see. Sorry guys, this target seems really far away when you're shooting irons. All right, let's go see what we did. All right, 3 rounds on paper. So this, and this. So apparently a more stable platform. So I was able to improve the group. It looks like it is a bit right. Height seems to be good between this group, but previously I had windage just about perfect with these rounds and the height being off. Again, I don't want to make an adjustment to it based on what I'm able to do out here today shooting these irons. I know Brian zeroed it. I know he has a lot more experience zeroing with irons than I do. So for the time being, I'm going to call that good until I'm having a better shooting day. I am still recovering from concussion, so I may just not have the ability to focus on that front sight like I need to shoot a tight group here. So I'm going to switch and we'll go to zeroing the optic and see how that is affected based on my vision. All right, so again, I'm gonna try and get where I can to find a natural point of aim on here. Note when zeroing an optic, right now I have a circle dot reticle in there. I'm gonna switch it to the dot only reticle so it's less cluttered, and also tune the brightness way down to where you can barely see the dot and the dot is at its smallest. These Holosun optics are pretty good with not having much bloom where the dot gets bigger, but the smaller you can make the dot, the least brightness setting that you can actually see it on the target is what you want when zeroing. Right, so I'm gonna get here, kind of nestle myself in. I'm trying to see if I could get an elbow up on the table. Right, I have the dot on the bullseye of the bottom target. Close my eyes. Open, and it's right about there. So I think I can go ahead and shoot from this position. All right, let's see what we were able to do. All right, so I've got a much better group than I did with the irons. However, I forget if I said I was shooting at the top or the bottom. Do you remember, Shelton? I feel like I shot at the top. What I'm gonna do here, again, and these two are very close, I felt good on 2 out of the 3. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the zero to the right. I'm gonna leave the height adjustment where it is, the elevation, but I will adjust the windage. And so if we take this line, I am 1, 2, about 3 inches off. The optic I'm using has 1 MOA clicks. So at 100 yards, 1 MOA is 1 inch. So at 50 yards, 1 MOA is half an inch. So if I need to move 3 inches in half-inch increments, I'm going to need to move 6 clicks. So I'm going to slide it 6 clicks to the right and reshoot it. So we said we're going to do 6 click adjustment to the right. You can see on this windage knob, it tells you the rotation or the direction to go to move to the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, and we'll reshoot it. This time I definitely am aiming at the top target. Get myself comfortable here. All right, let's see what that adjustment did. Here we've got that second group I shot, which leads me to believe that I was in fact aiming at this one when I shot that group. Because this time, Shelton and I both remember I said I was going to aim here, and that's where I was aiming. However, the windage adjustment looks pretty darn good there. So now I need to come down about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. 5 inches, again, 1 MOA clicks. At 50 yards will be 10 clicks down. So we'll put that adjustment on and we'll shoot it again. All right, so the elevation knob has a similar marking showing you which direction is up. So I'm going to go against that to go down. Elevation knobs are always on the top of the optic. Windage always in on the side. So I'm going to go down 10 clicks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Again, we'll shoot at that same target, the top one. Gonna settle in here. Sorry guys, sweat dripping in the eye. It's probably only like 140% humidity right now. All right, group right here. I'm gonna call this one a flyer. It seemed like I yanked one of them. These two make me think we're a little bit low. So we've got 2 more inches to come back up. So that'll be 4 clicks back up. I'll try and put 4 clicks back on it and we'll shoot again. 4 clicks back up. Okay. All right. Looks like lighting condition changed a little bit at the target, so I'm gonna increase the optic brightness by 1 level. All right, and I'm gonna shoot at the lower of the 2 bullseyes. Pulled that one, so I'm gonna send a 4th in this group. All right, let's see where that put us. Right here, we can see proof that I actually can shoot. These are the 4 rounds right here. That's the one I noted I pulled. So with 3 of them all breaking the line of the bullseye, with how I've been shooting today, we're gonna call that zeroed. I've got 2 touching and 1 maybe just another bullet width away from it. So that is a very consistent group. That's something that we can confirm 0 on. And again, with them all being right there, I'm gonna go ahead and call that optic zeroed. Welcome back. So we were out at the range. Any of you who have been in Tennessee in July know it gets very hot out there. The camera did overheat on us right as we were kind of wrapping up. I felt we got the footage that we needed in terms of zeroing the rifle. So we headed back in. Just to point out, I did have a little trouble with that 300-yard target, getting my holdover correct. But like right as the camera was in the process of overheating, I did find the hold that worked and was able to get 3 hits in a row. I'm not sure if we have the footage on that. Shelton is going to have to try and get that off of the other camera. But was able to be accurate with my Space AK all the way out to 300. So getting hits on human-sized steel at 300 yards, not a problem from an AR pistol. So some of the issues that we had at the range. Let's talk about some issues we can run into when zeroing, right? So at first, especially with the iron sights, you saw I was not very consistent in shooting a tight group, which makes zeroing near impossible. You can't zero like a shotgun pattern, right? Like if it's just spread out all over the place, there's no telling. That's on you, not on the sights, right? So we need a good group that we can then move. Okay, so you have to be consistent in order to get a 0. So I mean, sometimes you go to the range and like you're on. It's just like today's your day. You can't miss. You know, ting, ting. Like it's just your day. Some days it's the exact opposite. Hydration, who knows what, but you may not have it. Okay, I knew enough to know that no need to spend more time on these irons. today. So it'll be something that I go back and confirm and re-zero when I'm able to shoot a better group with them. Also, we noticed the rest you use and the position you're in are going to determine how well you're able to achieve that natural point of aim, right? So the lower we can get to the ground, the more stable we can get. So if I were shooting prone with big beanbag rest, like I could get that gun where it's going to pretty much stay exactly where I want it. We saw today, out at the range, I had a smaller ammo can, and it had some tilt in it, and it was a hard surface that I tried to soften up by putting that bag on there. Maybe a sweatshirt on top of that can would have been better. A 50 cal ammo can that would be wider instead of that narrow ammo can I was using, so it would have less tilt. All of these things play a factor. You want to be as consistent as you possibly can when you're zeroing. It did seem like changing some of those things up did get me to a point where I was finally able to shoot pretty darn good group with the red dot. So play with it, do what you need to do in order to shoot a very good group, and then you can move that group. Another note I did not mention out on the range, I kind of was trying to math my adjustments. Not necessary when you're first getting zeroed, right? So most rifle optics will have adjustments in either half or quarter MOA clicks, so very small adjustment. So you can make bold adjustments. This optic being 1 MOA per click is a little bit easier to try and get the math on. And that's why I did it that way. But if this were half MOA clicks and now half MOA per click, MOA is an inch at 100, but now we're at 50, but it's half a MOA per click. Like, I'm not trying to do too much math out there. So you can just kind of crank that dial a bit, get that group. Again, if you're shooting consistently, you get that group moved over if you need to come back half. So a lot of times with rifle optics, this being a pistol optic, but rifle optics that are half or quarter MOA clicks, a lot of times my initial adjustments will either be a half turn of the dial or a quarter turn of the dial. Like, I'm not actually counting the individual clicks in there. So be bold in your movements. So for instance, if this is your bullseye and your first group is like that, right? Just make a bold adjustment to the right and down. And if you end up here, you could come back about half of whatever you did for that adjustment. So if this adjustment was like a full turn on the dial, on the knob to the right, and 2 turns down, and that put you there, then go back half of that in the opposite direction, and your next group should be somewhere there. And then you can start kind of fine-tuning it. I wouldn't want to see you shoot a group there, make a small adjustment, shoot another group here, then shoot another group here. You're wasting your time trying to do that. So make bold adjustments and be ready to call 0-0'd. All right. Once you're in and you've got a good group touching your desired point of aim, like, be okay with that. I've seen some people out at the bench spend upwards of 100, 150 rounds. You know who you are. Just moving their group from one edge of the bullseye to the other edge of the bullseye to the other top edge, and just basically all of them, and trying to do tiny one click this way, one click that way, one click this way, one click that way. Don't get caught up in that. Push it out to distance like we did and confirm it there. So that being said, I can estimate that this distance, my point blank on this gun, is going to be somewhere between the 200 and 300 yard distance. So I'm zeroed at 50 right now. I was holding high to hit at 300. So this, like the 300 yard mark, might have been right about there. So somewhere around 250. So I've got a 50, I'll call it a 5250. Again, the distance in total, this distance here is only about 2.5 inches. This distance here is probably under 4 inches. So from 0 all the way out to about 300, we're talking about maybe a spread of 6 or 8 inches. So kind of all acceptable hits for that far of a distance and variation. So I'm very pleased with how the gun's operating. I have no complaints. I mean, it's a beauty. I love showing it off. Very happy with it, and it is capable of way greater accuracy than I was able to shoot today. But hopefully you guys got something out of this video, maybe a new tip or trick with the next time you go to 0. And like I said, confirm it every chance you get, because your responsibility to be ready for the fight never ends.